This is the fourth in our series of short videos on managing change initiatives. My name is Rajiv Khanna and I'm the Managing Director of a training provider in the UK called Raj Khanna Associates Limited. If you've got any questions, comments, queries, please do not hesitate to contact us through our email or through our website. One of the major reasons why change initiatives fail is because when people are brought into the journey of delivering that change initiative, they do not clearly understand their roles and responsibilities. The other problem that we have is there are different methods that talk about change, projects, programs, and each of them tend to use their own terminology. And this is mainly to do with the actual copyright. So to understand some of these roles, it would have been helpful for you to have watched the video on whether a change initiative should be managed as a program, a project, or simply as business as usual. The methods that you would have seen out there: managing successful programs, Prince2, agile project management, change management, and now recently launched by the APMG International, Praxis. So in any change initiative, what we've got to really consider are what are the outputs that we're actually going to deliver. But before we do that, what we've got to consider, first of all, is in the business environment where this change initiative is being launched, whether it's a program, whether it's a project, or whether it's business as usual. So who decides at a corporate level whether this change initiative should be launched or not? So different methods will call them different things. Different organizations may call them different bodies. So you have your trust boards, your board of directors, or simply your corporate management. So they will decide whether in our organization or within our departments this change initiative is okay to go ahead. And what they should do is to appoint an individual. And that individual's role to start off with is what we are delivering, is it value for money? So the solution that we deliver, is it worth it? And it's the same when you're purchasing a car or buying a new television. Somebody is asking the question, is it value for money? Unless you are cash rich and money is not a problem, which is highly unlikely, especially in the commercial world that we operate in today. That individual needs to consider, well, when we deliver the solution, which business area or business areas are actually going to use that solution. So that business area will need to first of all specify and say exactly what do we need, what we would like. And you can prioritize that as must have, should have, could have. Now that business area, having defined what they need, will give that information to somebody who's actually responsible for developing that solution. May it be a computer system, a new phone, a sandwich, or a major building. So the business area specification handed over to the developer who will then deliver that solution. So as you see, in any change initiative, having had the decision made by corporate management, there will be somebody looking at value for money, somebody saying, what do we really want? and the developer then delivering that solution. And once that solution has been delivered, it is given back to the business area, of course, then to test it and see whether it works. Does it do what we asked it to do? So in a simplest sense, we need to consider these areas even if it's within a department. So even if you're delivering something business as usual, there should be somebody charged within the department to say, what do we need? And a different individual should actually developing it. Because what we tend to do is in a department sometimes we need to write a new process. One individual decides what should be in there. That individual then creates it, and that individual then tests it. So there is no separation between the business area and the development area. So it's important we do consider that in any change initiative where we are delivering some outputs. And ultimately, the business would actually then identify and measure the benefit. Are we doing things better? Is it faster? Is it cheaper? So the key words for benefits would be increase, decrease. So that's a simple environment. Now, what do we find in any organization who have trained people on different methodologies? So if you look at managing successful programs, the corporate body is called the sponsoring group. The person owning the money is a senior responsible owner, and then you have a business change manager. So at program level, it's considered that we're not actually delivering the outputs, and therefore, within the methodology, there is no concept of the solution developer. There is, of course, somebody responsible for the day-to-day management. If you look at Prince 2, it talks about corporate management. And then the person holding the money is called an executive. And that term, in our opinion, is very confusing. Because if you ask individuals or groups of people, what is an executive? Is it a single person? Or is it a group of people? They say it's either. Well, within the method, it's one single individual. The person or role representing the business area is called a senior user. The person delivering the solution is a senior supplier. And then you have team managers and team members. So they're the ones responsible for delivering the solution. Again, if you simply saw them as team managers, it does not distinguish them between the business team and the supplier team. So they should be two different teams. Agile refers to the executive or the senior responsible role as a business sponsor. So they're representing the business. The person representing the department where the solution is to be delivered, i.e. the business representative, is actually called a business visionary. Business visionary is responsible for defining the requirements at high level. So they will say, we need a swing or we need a quick cooker. What they don't go into detail is the actual type of cooker, how many rings, etc. That is a business ambassador. So a business ambassador is empowered by the business visionary. There is a role called the business analyst. And a business analyst is somebody who's purely looking to see whether that solution will work from a business perspective. So where does my cooker go? Where does my fridge go? And where does my sink go? That's really what the business analyst is looking at. Will the positions of those three items allow me to deliver a business? They don't go into the detail as to what type of cooker do I need, what type of sinks, or what kind of taps that I need. That is the responsibility of the business ambassador. The day-to-day management, like Prince 2, is done by a project manager. Then you have a technical coordinator, and they are the equivalent of a senior supplier. They're actually looking to see whether the solution that you're asking for would work from a technical perspective. So is it okay to put the fridge and the cooker next to each other? The business says, the analyst says, that is what we would like to help me cook, because I can take the food straight out of the fridge and put it on the cooker. The technical coordinator is then looking to see whether that solution is viable from a technical perspective. They then have, as the name correctly suggests, somebody who's actually developing that solution, and somebody different is actually testing the solution. So we have the solution tester. Now within Agile, we have something called the solution development team, where in organizations are referred to as workstream leads or work streams. And those work streams, or the solution development team in here, it's actually got a number of roles that actually work together on a collaborative, almost on an everyday basis. So the business ambassador is specifying in detail what they would like. The business analyst is identifying whether that solution will work. And the solution developer is then developing what the business needs. So they're actually working in a close proximity to each other. And anytime the developer wants a question, they go to the ambassador. And then, as we said, you have a solution tester. So that's within Agile. If you look at change management, so once you have delivered your outputs, you want people to transition from the old way of working to a new way of working. So the change management syllabus covers the people side, the human side of any change initiatives. Now within there, we just have these roles. Somebody called a sponsor, who is the leader, who is a decision maker, etc. And line management are the people who are coming from the business area. So as you see, the business change manager within managing successful programs, senior user within Prince 2, business visionary within Agile, and change management within here. Instead of calling them end users or staff, within the change management syllabus, they're called targets. And during that change initiative, you want somebody to glue these line managements together. So get them to network, get them to talk, share lessons, etc., which is a role called a change agent. So as you see, for those individuals who've attended these different training courses would have come across the different roles. First of all, we like to make it very, very clear here, these are roles and these are not titles. Too many individuals in the public sector, in our experience, and some in the private sector, get hung up on titles. I'm a director, so I cannot be a project manager. Well, why not? If that's what your role is. What we would like to share with you is this slide that we put together. So ultimately, whatever we do should be done in a corporate way. There isn't a right way, there isn't a wrong way, but there must be a corporate way. So we must all sing from the same hymn sheet, and we should get people to be working and using the same terminology in terms of roles. In order for our change initiatives to be successful, it's important that all these roles are fulfilled. None of these are left out, but of course, in a small initiative, roles can be combined. So here is a summary of different methods. So right at the top, we have a sponsoring group. Now, these may be the senior management team of an organization, i.e. the leadership team, or it is a group of people. So if it's across different organizations, like the new National Health Service Initiative called Integrated Care Systems, you'd have somebody from the council, somebody from the acute trust, somebody from the clinical commissioning groups. So those people, when the chief execs come together, they need to make sure that they agree and approve the initiatives, and hence the term sponsoring group is a very useful term to use. And so at the end of the day, we need to ask who has sponsored this initiative. For that initiative, if it's being managed as a program, we recommend we call them a senior responsible owner. But if you really felt it was comfortable for you, you could call them program owner. But senior responsible owner is a term that is being quite constantly used within the public sector in the United Kingdom. If it's being managed as a project, we have a project owner. It's not a single or a group, it's one named individual. Then for that initiative, for the outputs that we're first of all going to deliver, we recommend we use the role called the Business Change Manager, because that individual, first of all, represents a business area. So you need to know which area of the business they're recommending. They are responsible for the change. So they want to ensure that the people, their team, their staff, change from the old way of working to the new way of working. Now, speaking to somebody yesterday, within the organization, the business change managers are senior people, so they like to call them business change directors. Now, again, this is getting a little bit silly in pandering to directors of our organization. In our opinion, it's a role, that's what they take on. So they are specifying the requirements at high level, and once the outputs have been delivered, they will be responsible for the change. They will then empower and appoint business ambassadors. We like the term business ambassadors because it is internationally recognized that a country has an ambassador that go out to the other countries. So they've been empowered by their prime ministers, the presidents, to be able to make local detailed decisions. So the business ambassador will then specify the requirements at the detail level, as discussed earlier. So this is breaking down the business change team within managing successful programs to take on the roles. Also, we don't simply want to call them team managers, we might as well give them a name. So they're representing the business, they're ambassadors of the business, and they're responsible for the detail requirement. The business analyst roles we've already discussed, and business advisors are people, as the name suggests, who are advising from a business perspective. And they may be also referred to sometime as assurance. So as you see at the bottom, there's project assurance or program assurance. But at least this way you know they're advising the business. So perhaps you may call them business assurance, and therefore they're advising the business. The solution tester, because they're testing the solution. Again, you may choose to call them business tester, but that doesn't ring bell for us, so we would recommend a solution tester. So that really is encompassing the managing successful programs, Prince 2, Agile, and change management. And so they're the roles we get from the business side. Then, of course, if the initiative is managed as a program, we have a program manager who will have project managers working for them, or we simply have a project manager who are responsible for the delivery of the output. Representing the delivery team, we could either use the word senior supplier or a technical coordinator. So they're informing us whether the solution that is being asked by the business is actually technically viable. We have the solution developer. Instead of simply calling them team managers, why not call them solution developer? Because that's exactly what they're doing. They're developing a solution, and of course we can have a solution advisor. As long as we start to use these terms consistently within the organization, then it starts to help the individuals and the organization succeed in their change initiatives. We talked about the solution development team working together, and as we talked about, the people in the advisory role. So here what we've done is, instead of calling them change agents, we've called them change advisor, because that's what they're actually doing. They're acting as agents. They're there in an advisory capacity. They're advising the business change managers on the people side. The fact that everyone has a different personality type, everyone has a different learning style. People are going through the change curve. They're going through the learning dip. So the change advisor is somebody who understands that kind of human change actions that take place. So if you look at bridges, they talk about the transition, the endings, the neutral zone, and the new beginnings. So the change advisors can do networking and they can advise. This instead of calling them change agents. So we hope, having shown you what different methods call different roles, and our suggestions on how at a corporate level we create the corporate methodology and we use the terms suggested here, we will start to create an environment that people recognize these are roles and these are not titles. So for different initiatives, in some initiative, an individual may be a senior responsible owner. In another one, they could be a business change manager, or even another one, they could be a business ambassador. But these roles can be combined if you've got a small department. The business change manager role can be combined with a business ambassador. And of course, if they understand the issues very well, they could also act as a business analyst. So if you're putting a new kitchen in, you're acting as the business change manager, you're also acting as a business ambassador, and you're also acting as a business analyst. So roles can be combined but never left out. So if there are any suggestions, please do not hesitate to contact us. Our thoughts are these: please take charge of your change initiatives before they take charge of you. Thank you very much for listening, and we look forward to receiving any feedback from you.